Okay, so something I hear quite often that I wanted to actually address and try to explain to people is that many people out there keep saying that boxing is a martial art. Boxing is not a martial art. Boxing is a sport. The art of boxing, all right, was created because it was a way for two people to be able to fight each other without using weapons and killing each other for competition in the Olympics over 2,000 years ago. Now, when it came to the idea of fighting with your bare hands for for warfare or even for the idea of like dueling or combat between two people, that was more or less what you would do for play or for fun or maybe because you got drunk one night and you'd be fighting somebody. It wasn't something like a trained skill because any warrior, most likely on the battlefield, will be wearing armor and carrying weapons. So the idea of you standing there and getting ready to fight like this against somebody who has like a broadsword is ridiculous. It just wasn't happening. Now, Eastern martial arts may be different because those guys fought mostly always with weapons, and a lot of that fighting actually, when it comes to the hand fighting, is more or less the idea of defending against somebody with a weapon when you don't have one. But that kind of concept wasn't really around places that box, like in Greece and Rome and places where people use their hands like this. That was more for sport. It was more for fun. It was more something that you did with somebody that you probably either know or maybe got in an argument with. But it's not something that you would use in combat. Now, when it comes to using boxing for fighting, though, boxing teaches a lot of great things that you can use for fighting in general. Fighting in itself is very interchangeable. It's not like there's only one way to do any one thing. You can do a lot of things in a lot of different ways. And boxing just teaches you a lot of skills that you can use for fighting. How to move very fast on your feet, to be evasive, how to throw a lot of punches at once, how to be very coordinated. These things are very great to use in boxing. But it's not a martial art. But if you wanted to make it a martial art, then what you want to do is you want to branch out and start adding things to it that covers its weaknesses. I'm not saying that you have to start turning yourself into a kickboxer. You don't have to throw a kick or use any type of attack you don't want to use, but the defenses that you learn from other fighting styles, that's what really helps your martial art become something that is more or less useful in many different ways or against many other different styles. Because boxing as a fighting style, when it comes to punching, can end a fight. Your hands can be what ends the fight. But what defends you as you're fighting is going to be your technique. Whatever technique you're using is going to be what actually protects you. And you want to make your technique as well rounded as possible so that you can have as many different ways of defending against other styles of fighting that you're up against. My own trainer even used to say that you don't have to fight like how somebody else fights to beat them, but you do need to know how they fight so that you'll be able to fight them without them taking you by surprise. So, in my opinion, you don't have to imitate or be like other people when you fight. But if you want to be a boxer or a wrestler or probably any style of fighting, you want to be as well rounded when it comes to your understanding of other fighting styles as you can so that you will actually know how to defend against something somebody else would do that may not be what you're normally up against. All right, somebody going for your legs, throwing a kick to your head, you want to know how to defend against that stuff, even if all you want to do is box. So just keep that in mind while you're out there, all right? And you're trying to actually argue about if boxing is a martial art. It's not a martial art, but if you wanted to use it as your fighting style, then you want to know as much about other styles as possible so that when you are boxing, the other guy cannot catch you by surprise.